Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so I've dropped a video. It was a fairly long video, but we went over all of the day 1 SSR characters that are going to be releasing for solo leveling. Jujutsu Kaisen, oh my god. We're going to do the same thing for the SRs, so we're just going to dive straight on into it. I think I'll also talk about the memories that the game has too. So that way we've got everything covered, and then we can furthermore go into tier listing these characters. But anyway, yeah, let's not mess about. Let's dive straight on in and talk about these SRs. I'll give you guys a heads up on the SRs that you want to look forward to that are worth investing into. And lo and behold, here's one that you want to invest into. This was actually one of the first SRs that I invested into because of how crazy good that she is. So she is a support hindering type character in a similar fashion of how we last looked into the SSR Fujigoro, of course. So we've got a green support going on with Momo. So first skill does 100% range Jujutsu damage, of course. Second skill increases all allies damage by 41.7% for 2 turns, and then grants evasion stat to self. Fantastic. Skill 3 stuns all enemies. You've got a 50-50 shot for that to land, and then grants evasion stats to self for 1 turn. And then the ultimate, AoE, 292% Jujutsu damage, and then stuns all enemies. You've got a 40%, so 10% less from the third skill, but still more stun coverage. And then again, grants evasion status for 1 turn. Increases own and combo allies break damage by 10%, and then you do AoE 100% range Jujutsu damage. And then at the start of each wave, increase 1 random enemy's damage received by 6.7% for 2 turns. So this is again one of the SRs not to be slept on. If you do pull her, do work on her a little bit. You know, make sure that you are getting her up there as a support hindering character. She's one of the good ones, I will say. Again, one of the early bird SR characters that I invested into, and yeah, really did help out hindering the enemy in an AoE way of things. Okay, moving over to Yuki. Again, we've got another green supporter. This is obviously with Phantom Parade. 2 new unique characters came about specifically for the game. This is one of them. This SR is again another really solid SR not to be slept on. Deals 70% range Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy, decreases the selected enemy damage by 15%. So this is the regular attack that does not require any cursed energy, so this is actually really solid. So skill 2 decreases all allies Jujutsu damage received by 22.1% for 3 turns, and then grants attack nullification to the selected ally for 3 turns, increases the selected allies Jujutsu damage by 15%. So in a predominant more of a Jujutsu skill fight, as you could say, this SR character really does come in handy in that supportive role, because that's specifically what he's targeting, of course. So very good on that part. Then the ultimate, it's selected target, 290% damage, but then you've got an 80% chance to stun that selected enemy. So overall, kit wise, very solid. Again, one of the SRs not to be slept on, as I've said. Increases own and combo allies damage by 10% for 2 turns, and then does 70% range Jujutsu damage. Sadly, no auto skill, but yeah, Yuki is in this SR form a really good supporter for the Jujutsu damaging area, especially if the enemy is doing Jujutsu damage, of course. So predominantly in that part of things, yeah, really solid. Who else we got? Todo. So it says yellow supporter, which he's more of a yellow attacker, but this Todo I just wasn't too fond with, to be honest. Nothing that I would suggest you to kind of invest in, to be fair. But yeah, he's a yellow attacker, not a supporter. He's an attacker. Deals melee taijutsu damage to selected enemy. Skill 2 increases own taijutsu damage and break damage. So taijutsu 20.6%, and then break damage by 45%, of course. Skill 3 increases own break damage by 26.6%. Deals 192.5 melee damage. And then the ultimate, if selected enemy is in the break status, increases own damage by 50%, deals 333 melee taijutsu damage to the selected enemy, fills own and combos allies skill gauge by 120%, that's actually not too bad, and then deals 100% melee taijutsu damage. And then the auto passive skills, when an enemy is defeated, increases own taijutsu damage by 10%. If you're really heavily needing, I guess, that yellow attacker, I mean, then I guess you can resort to it, but I mean, I never really went out my way to kind of, do him up, to be fair. Especially with, you know, having the SSR attackers that I've spoken about, you know, Kurosaki, Itadori, Gojo, of course, you know, you can just resort to going with them. But anyway, yeah, so just something that wouldn't really be too bothered with. Another SR you don't really need to concern yourself with. This is again one of the newest addition to Jujutsu Kaisen in terms of uniqueness, of course. Sakurindo, she is a defender, probably one of the worst ones. I really wouldn't concern yourself with her, but we'll just go through the kit anyway. Deals melee combined damage equal to 50% Taijutsu and 50% Jujutsu to the selected enemy. And then skill 2, attracts all enemies, attacks to self, and then fills own ultimate gauge by 100%. So in a similar fashion to how, I guess you could say how Panda slightly works, of course. And then skill 3 increases own taijutsu damage by 27.8%, deals melee combined damage equal to 150 taijutsu and 50% jujutsu to the selected enemy. Now the ultimate deals melee combined damage equal to 150 taijutsu and 50% jujutsu. The lower own HP is, the greater the damage. So I'm not too fond of her as a tank because it's just like, hey, attack me. Let me also fill up my ultimate gauge. Oh my god, I'm on the brink of death. I'll drop my ultimate and nuke one target. What happens if there's multiple targets? It's a GG. I'm just, again, not one of the best tanks, I will say. And then recover own and combo allies cursed energy by 10, and then you do 50-50 on the taijutsu and jujutsu damage, and then with the auto skill passive at the start of the battle, decrease own damage received by 10%. Yeah, overall just not a tank that you need to concern yourself with, so there's that. We have ourselves a nice little yellow attacker. There we go. Obviously we had Todo. I think Mai would probably be my better option. But anywho, let's dive on in. So deals 75 range jujutsu damage to the selected target. Skill 2 grants conceal stats to self for 2 turns and increases own taijutsu damage by 100% for 2 turns. Fantastic. And then skill 3 deals 189.9 range taijutsu damage to the selected enemy for 3 hits. Stuns the target. You've only got a 30% chance, so and then the ultimate, if the selected enemy is in break status or debuffed, increases own damage by 50%. Deals range combined damage of 166% of taijutsu and then 166 of jujutsu to the selected enemy. And then when it comes to the combination attack, you get a 10% increase in your break damage, and then you do 75% range taijutsu damage to the selected enemy. And then when it comes to the auto skills, at the start of the battle, grant follow-up preparation stats to self, of course. So yeah, so she's not too bad in terms of, I mean, I wouldn't say she's anything too crazy, but yeah, in terms of a yellow attacker, she's okay-ish, I would say, if that's what you need as a typing for DPS. But yeah, I wouldn't go overly too crazy on investing, to be fair. Yeah. Alright, so we got Milwa, of course. Red defense. Oh, yeah, I think this is a tank that you might want to consider. Deals melee combined damage equal to 50% taijutsu and 50% jujutsu, of course. So skill 2 grants evasion status to self for 2 turns. Attracts all enemies attacks, and then increases own taijutsu damage by 20%. And then with the skill 3, you activate counter status. So counter status, when targeted by an enemy, melee attack 1 time per turn, deals 66% of combined damage equal to 65% of taijutsu and 65 of jujutsu as counter damage. And then the ultimate, deal melee combined damage equal to 175 for taijutsu and jujutsu to the selected enemy. Then the combo effect increases own combo ally damage by 10%, deals melee combined damage equal to 50% taijutsu and 50% jujutsu. And then when it comes to the passive, the auto skill passive, at the start of each wave, attracts a random enemy's attack for 1 turn. Yes, so if you are in needing of the first slot, aka being a tank, and you don't have anything else going on, but you do have this cheeky little SR just sitting in your box, take her. This is one of the better SR tanks that you can get, right? So if you ain't got your Panda, resort to Miwa, definitely. To be fair, I think tanking wise, you ain't got much of an option. If it's going to be day 1 global, if you ain't got Panda, then this will probably be your next best choice, if I'm being honest. Yeah. Anyway, who have we got? Nanami, let's freaking go. Red support in the building. Alright. This Nanami isn't too bad either. So deals melee damage equal to 50% taijutsu and 50% jujutsu. Skill 2 increases own damage by 27.8% for 4 turns. Increases all allies damage by 20.9% for 4 turns, excludes self. And then skill 3 deals melee combined damage 100% taijutsu, 100% jujutsu. And then the ultimate deals melee combined damage by 250.3 and taijutsu by 250.3. Increases all allies damage by 14.3% for 2 turns, excludes self. Recovers own and combo allies cursed energy by 10%, deals melee combined damage, 50% taijutsu and 50% jujutsu to selected enemy, no auto skills. Yeah, so pretty much a nice little support sub DPS type character. Keep him in the back, keep boosting your main DPSs, and yeah, you'll be chilling. So Nanami is a nice little attacking support character right there. Okay, this is probably the best SR that you want to work on. Out of every SR that we're going to look into, this is like #1 SR. So we got Yaga, we got a red support. Deals 100% melee taijutsu damage to the selected enemy. Skill 2 increases all allies taijutsu's damage by 27.8%. Same for Jujutsu, and that's on 4 turns of each. Skill 3 deals 80% range Jujutsu to the selected enemy, 4 hits. Deals combined damage equal to 100% taijutsu and 20% Jujutsu to the selected enemy. Increases the selected enemy's damage received by 27.8% for 2 turns. And then when it comes to the ultimate, deals 406 range Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy. Decreases the selected enemy taijutsu damage. Decreases the enemy selected Jujutsu damage. Increases selected enemy's damage received, all by 25.4%. Again, I didn't even notice that. Oh my god. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it makes sense. I'm saying it from level 1 just to make it easier for us. But yeah, you can level up the passives to make them go higher. So practically 50%. Oh my god. Okay, and then increases own increases own and combo allies break damage by 10%, and then 100% melee taijutsu damage to the selected enemy. Yeah. Anyway, regardless, this is the best support for the SRs that you wanna work on. 100%. If you max it out, 45 or 46% right there. Boom. But yeah, in terms of SRs, boys, this is it. This is the SR that you're looking out for. This is the SR that you want. So keep on a lookout. Best SR support. Moving on. Oh, we got our healer. I think this is going to be the only healer we have to start day 1, unless they introduce more characters that started or that were released, like, again, as I've mentioned before, months on in for the JP side of things, for day 1 for global, who knows. But yeah, this is our only healer, so I mean, automatically she'll have some sort of priority for some people if they are in need of that healer. So deals 100% range taijutsu damage, deals 100% melee taijutsu damage to selected enemy, decreases selected enemy's critical hit resistance by 6.6%. What does that go to? 15.6%. Okay, cool. And then when it comes to skill 3, some healing going on. So you recover a selected ally's HP by 80% of Jujutsu, and then deals low damage when used on a cursed spirit. And then when it comes to the ultimate, it recovers all allies' HP by 150 of Jujutsu, deals low damage when used on a cursed spirit. So keep that in mind. Cursed spirits. What does it go to though? 300%. Nice, not too bad, not too bad. Combination, recover owner and allies cursed energy by 10. Deals 100% melee taijutsu damage, and to the combo ally selected enemy, targets all enemies if combo ally does not have a selected enemy. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of stating the obvious. You know, healers do have some form of priorities, especially at the beginning of every game, of course. So as of right now, this is, I believe, the only healer that will have day 1. So anyway, moving along. Who's this? Oh, Junpei. Okay, let's go. So we've got a blue attacker. Deals 100% range Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy. Skill 2 decreases all enemies' taijutsu damage by 7.3%. Deals 18.9 continuous Jujutsu damage poison to all enemies. So now we're getting into some DOT type region of things. And then skill 3 grants attack nullification to self for 3 turns, increases own Jujutsu damage by 111%. Then the ultimate, if the selected enemy is receiving continuous Jujutsu damage poison, increases own damage by 25%, deals 300% Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy, deals 92.5 continuous Jujutsu damage poison to the selected enemy for 3 turns. And then combination attack increases own and combo allies damage by 10%, so you got 50% melee Jujutsu damage being selected to the enemy. And then the passive, at the start of the battle, increases own damage by 7.5%. The more Tokyo Jujutsu high students are present on the field, the greater the damage boost. So yeah, we're starting to see some form of stipulations where having characters of the same, I guess, name, well, not name, but like title, there we go. Yeah, you can gain a lot from that in terms of team building from that way, of course. Which actually works quite nicely for this character. So yeah, not too bad of a character, especially in the whole DOT region, and the increase of damage that you can do when the enemy is poisoned. So yeah, this is a fairly decent blue attacking DOT type character, of course, so keep that in mind. Yeah, okay, Kamo, let's go. We got another blue attacker, deals 100% range taijutsu damage to selected enemy. You got a 60% chance to stun straight off the bat right there. And then skill 3 deals 83-point range taijutsu damage to one random enemy. Ultimate deals combined range damage equal to 58, and then taijutsu by 58% jujutsu to one random enemy. I'm just, yeah, and then combination skill damage increase of 10%, and then at the start of each turn, if own HP is above 70%, increases critical rate by 50%, and then break damage by 20%. I really wouldn't concern myself with this character, to be fair. Yeah, I mean, you don't really need to, yeah, it's nothing too crazy with this one, so there's that. But yeah, those are all the SR characters. It's good to see that there are some SR characters that are going to hold a lot of value, especially at the very beginning when it comes to us trying to team build. You know, starting your account off with the SRs, or sorry, the SSRs that you want, and then to have some really good solid SR characters to fill in the spots. Yeah, I think that's what makes Phantom Parade a fairly solid game. So that way it's not just full-on SSR orientated. You guys know how that goes for gacha games. So yeah, picked out a few of the SRs that I've just mentioned. Don't sleep on them. Again, in a tier list format, you guys will see on where they're ranked. Some of them are higher than what you would expect, so yeah, we'll go on to that. But anyway, boys, those are the SRs of Jujutsu Kaisen that will be available day 1. Again, could we see... I don't think SR-wise they're going to add any more until later on. So the ones that we've just looked at right now, I think those are the ones that are 100% dropping for day 1. Alright? So anyway, I'll leave it there. We'll talk about memories, and then we'll get on with some tier listing, and then you guys can get an idea on yeah, which ones to be more prioritized over the others. All right.